Hey everyone, Lights and Gear is back with another flashlight review, and I have a new light from Lumintop, which is actually taking on the characteristics of a lot of other cheaper lights these days, which are attracting the attention of many. This is the Lumintop Zoom. So with the Lumintop Zoom, you have a zooming or focusable head, which narrows down to a smaller beam and pulls out for a wider beam. Zooming flashlights have been popular over the last couple of years. However, they're usually of lower quality, and they usually look something like this. Typical design, which you'll see all over the place, with many and very different names on them. Basically, they're all the same. But in this case, we have the Lumintop. So finally, a quality manufacturer's brand has gone into the zooming area, zooming arena, if you will. Not much on this box. It's pretty low-key, pretty recycled looking, and this is just an outer sleeve here. So pull that off and you get the traditional Lumintop logo here, and again, nothing on this box at all. So pop it open, and here is the manual, which is written well, and has a lot of Chinese on it too, Chinese section, but regardless, it's nicely written in English. And here is a little card, thank you card, and this is also anyway, we'd love to hear from you here. So this is what they're telling you on the little card. Among the other accessories, a couple of spare O-rings. Here you have a little here you have the USB charging cable, because it is a USB rechargeable light. This is a standard. This is not a C, USB-C, but a standard cable. And here is a lanyard deep down in here. Has a little bit of a different kind of clip on the end than most lanyards do, perhaps to add a little bit more strength to it. Otherwise, it's a pretty standard lanyard. It's not. It is very standard. It isn't adjustable or anything. And here is the flashlight in question, the Lumintop Zoom. It is about 5 inches long. It's of reasonable length and reasonable weight, not too heavy. When in standby mode, the button here on the side is illuminated in green, as you can see. I do have a battery in here already. It does tail stand, by the way, beautifully, because the only button to operate it is on the side, and there is the USB oops, there we go, there is the USB port right there, standard of course. So it takes a 18650 battery. I do have one installed right here, an Olight 18650, so this fits in here well. You have a nice big spring in the cap, and up inside the head is another spring up there at the top as well. The manual also says that you can use a 21700 battery in this, but you do need an alternative, or rather a different accessorized tube in order to accept that, because as it is right now, it will not accept a 21700, not in this tube. But as it says, if you buy a separate tube, which I have not yet looked into, it should take that size battery, which would increase runtime. So anyway, the battery fits very snugly in here and doesn't leave a lot of room for the cap to go on, but it's fairly easy to go on. Just give it a nice press there as you turn, and it will grip within a few seconds. So the flashlight, the head rather, moves up and down as you would expect, and then as soon as you do, it says zoom right there. There almost seems to be, at least on this light that I received, which is from my friends at Banggood, there seems to be sort of an indent here to make it sort of a halfway zoom point. So of course this would be full flood, and right in this little niche right there would be like a half zoom, and then pulling it that much further would be the full zoom. And the body of the flashlight, typical aircraft grade aluminum alloy with some knurling right here, so not too bad, and a little bit of this design knurling up near the top. Now they don't say too much about the, well, the LED is an XP-L HD, and that's what they call the LED, XP-L HD. They don't say too much about the lens. The lens of most of these flashlights, such as the cheaper ones here, are usually hard plastic. Now, they don't indicate what the lens is in this particular case. It does have more of a tap sound to it. There's that. And there's this. So I would suspect that this would be of a higher grade, or at least something related, or perhaps if not glass, then it would be a different kind of plastic that would be used for an aspheric lens than you get in some of the other lights. Normally these are highly scratchable, these types of lenses. In the other lights, they scratch very easily. So I'm not quite certain in the case of the Lumintop. I would suspect that it would be scratch resistant to a point. Now, some of the other features of the light, as other quality flashlights have, you do have a beam distance of about 210 meters. It's impact resistant to 2 meters and water resistant, not waterproof, because most flashlights that have a moving head cannot be completely waterproof, because there's always often the chance of water seeping into the head. If water is here and then you push it down, there's a chance of water being sucked inside the head. So water resistant in this case to IP65, which indicates that it can be splashed with water from all directions, but do not submerge it. So here are your particulars over here. It does say about supporting the 21700 battery. It is micro USB charge or rechargeable and so forth. And the manual here actually indicates that there should be an 18650 battery included along with it. But as you can see in my box, I did not get one. But perhaps, I don't know, maybe if you purchase the light, maybe you will. There are 4 regular modes: low, medium, high, and turbo. In regular sequence, it just goes low, medium, high. Turbo you have to double click to get to. There's also strobe and SOS. And as you can see, 850 lumens is the turbo output, 400 is high, 200 is medium, and 10 is low. Strobe and SOS, of course, use the high mode for their outputs. And there's also a lockout mode on it as well. And it does have mode memory, so it'll always return to the last mode used. So just to demonstrate here, and so as I say, this the button here is always in green when the light is turned off. Now, if you don't want the light, if you don't want the dial on, you would have to try to turn the cap a bit. Although there is also there's also a lock feature on it, which would lock out the side switch. So I haven't actually tried this before, so let's see if it actually turns off the illumination. Let me just turn down another light here. So to use the lock and unlock feature, you have to press and hold this for 5 seconds. In the meantime, it goes through SOS and then blinks twice, or more than twice, to indicate that it is locked out, and no, the illuminated button still stays illuminated. Okay, that's something I hadn't noticed before, so that it does stay illuminated. But be that as it may, it is handy to find in the dark, of course, when you have the little button lit up. So to unlock it, I would just do the opposite again by holding it. And there it flashes a few times, so it is now unlocked, as you can see. And as soon as the light turns on, the illuminated button goes out. Now, if I were charging it, I would of course plug the USB cable into the back, and as soon as I do so, as long as the battery is down somewhat, this will be red. And then as soon as the charge is finished, it'll turn blue. So red means a charge, blue means a fully charged, and green is the standby once it's ready to go and you know, has a battery sitting in it. Anyway, let me press the button here. And it does not, you cannot hold the switch and have it advance through the modes. You have to keep pressing the button each time. Holding it will simply turn it off. So to turn it on, you give it one little press. To turn it off, you give it a holding press. So as we look at the beam here, let me start in low. This is low, which is about 10 lumens, so it's not as low as a lot of other lights on low are. So yeah, this is low. I have to keep checking it because it seems a little brighter than what I would normally expect. So let me turn off this light over here. So here is the low mode. And again, the beam, of course, very, very wide. No artifacts or anything in this, as it's on the full zoom right now. And it is a pretty nice LED. There's no crazy color to it or anything like that. Through the camera, to me, it almost looks a little bit blue, but to the naked eye, it's completely white. So just so you know that. And pointing it in the other room, you can see, of course, you get a full breadth of light. Now, if I go down to that first indent on the zoom, which would be right there, that narrows it down a little bit. Now you can see more of a spotted beam there. And then if I go down to the full zoom, there you get your full focused beam right there. And that's pretty nice. It's not bad at all. Has a little bit of a squared look to it. It's just ever so slight. It's not so terrible. It's not completely round, so it has a little bit of a squared edge to it there. But of course, if you take the other type of flashlight, the cheaper brand, and do the same thing, you'll see something completely different. Let me just take that briefly if you're unfamiliar, and put a battery in this one, just for comparison's sake, of course, because quite frankly, it really bothers me the way people review these types of lights on Amazon and claim they're the best thing they've ever seen. Where of course you get the beam like this, which is not as bright as the Lumintop, and of course if you pull the head right back, you get this completely squared beam image like that on these types of lights, completely square. And of course the Lumintop is like this. It's whiter and does not go to a complete square. Now I double click to go to turbo. Right now I'm in high. So that would have been, oh actually no, that was medium. My apologies. So actually here's low, here's medium, and here's high. Now if I double click, I get to turbo. So now I'm in turbo mode, and turbo is about 800 lumens as they advertise, and it looks quite nice indeed. And again, if I were to compare that with the other light I had a second ago, it would not be nearly as bright in this mode. In fact, this is the high on this one, but they aren't as bright. So anyway, this light does have some nice features. As I mentioned, it has the lockout mode and strobe and SOS. To get to those modes, you have to let's see, has to be off for one thing, and then I have to press and hold. And there's strobe right there. And then if I give it another press from strobe, it'll go to SOS. And if I give it another press, it just goes back to strobe. So the only way to turn it off is to hold it like that. So anyway, it is quite a nice flashlight. I did receive it from my friends at Banggood. Actually, let's show you the outdoor shots before I forget. So let's take a look at those. Okay, now that you got a good look at what it looks like outside, of course you can check my written review at lightsandgear.com, where I do have my full review of the light, and you can take a look at more outdoor shots there and read a little bit more about it and so forth. But for a zooming flashlight, I think this is pretty nice. the Lumintop Zoom. It does have obviously much better quality than one of those other generic zooming type lights, and being from Lumintop, I think it'll have a good life of performance, or a good performance life, you know, a good track record of longevity and so forth, being that it is from Lumintop. And it doesn't come with a pocket clip, as you can see, so maybe that's one strike against it for some, but it does come with the lanyard, of course, and it does have quite a nice feel to it, and the switch is very responsive and so forth. So for what it is, for being a zoom flashlight, I would recommend it, and because it is relatively bright, and the 400 lumens does very nicely, especially indoors and outdoors as well, for that matter. So you can check it out and see what you think. Lumintop Zoom. That's been our review for today. Any questions or comments, let me know. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.